Welcome to Next Game's December 2020 Intense Ambuscade Volume 1 video against Qutrub. In this video, I'll go over the key item acquisition for this month's runs. I'll go over the December 2020 Volume 2 battle strategy and show an example of this month's run on the easy difficulty. Now for this month's key item acquisition, you only need to get a single Qutrub kill for either your daily quest or your multiple times in a day quest. The two places I can suggest you can go for this are to home point number 2 in Whitegate, and then go to the Dovka staging point where you can find some Qutrub right outside the gate, or use the survival guide to get to Kadarva Mire. Now the main NM in this run is the Bozzetto Bigwig, who is a thief ninja. He is assisted by a number of other mobs dependent upon the difficulty you're on. On very easy, it's a single Bozzetto Tormentor who is a Dark Knight. On easy, that Tormentor is also assisted by an Astrologer who is a Black Mage. On normal, there are 2 Tormentors and an Astrologer. On difficult, 2 Tormentors and 2 Astrologers. And on very difficult, 3 Tormentors and 2 Astrologers. Now when the fight first starts, there's only the single Bigwig on the battlefield. At 80% hit points, he will spawn all of the adds for that difficulty in a very short period of time. Now at 30% hit points, he will again spawn all of the adds for that difficulty for a second time if they have been killed. Now this NM's abilities and strategy that you use on him will change based on his hit point level, so let's talk about the different phases that you're going to see in this fight. In phase 1, he'll be between 100% hit points and 80% hit points. During this phase, he will use Animating Wail, which is a self-haste of 30%, Mangle, which is a triple hit damage attack blocked by shadows, and Leaping Cleave, which is a single target damage attack and stun, also blocked by shadows. Now on both solo and party play, you want to fly through this first 20% as quickly as you can. This brings us to phase 2. Phase 2 starts at 80% hit points and goes until 60%. Now exactly at 80% hit points, his weapon will break and he will start to summon adds. His abilities will also now switch to Hex Palm, which drains hit points and bypasses shadows, and Spinal Cleave, which is a single hit damage attack and also bypasses shadows. Now as solo, you want to kill the Black Mage during this phase immediately once he spawns. If you are in a party, you want to kill all the mobs that spawn in this phase, while someone holds the main mob off to the side. This brings us to phase 3. Now in phase 3, it starts at 60% hit points and goes until 30%. In this phase, he equips a secondary weapon and now switches to these following abilities. Unblessed Jambia, which is a AoE drain of 15 feet, and Gani Rodan, which is a conal damage ability that stuns and strips your shadows. Now Perfect Dodge is also going to be used at exactly 50% hit points, so be ready for that. Now the main NM gains End Death if the adds are alive during this phase, which is why you want them dead before now. Now you want to cut through this phase as quickly as possible in both solo and party setups. Be ready to quickly be in for the challenge of the entire run at 30% hit points. Now if you're solo and using my strategy, the Dark Knight is still alive right now, which means in theory, the mob has End Death on his attacks. Now I've never actually seen it proc on this difficulty in my 10 plus runs, however, do keep those shadows up just in case. This brings us to the final phase, phase 4. Now in phase 4, it's going to start at 30% hit points, and at which point he's going to once again spawn all of the adds for your difficulty, as long as they've been killed. He will lose the End Death ability when those adds are out, so you won't need to deal with that anymore. But now, all of the mobs will gain access to an ability called Triple Reversal, which will drain hit points from the target, and almost always drains, for me, about 33,000 hit points, so there's really no way to avoid this, and it goes right through Megawari. And this is on the easy difficulty, mind you. Now this ability is used if 3 or more of the mobs all get hate on the same person. And this is really the challenge of this fight and the remaining 30%. Now if you're a solo, at 30%, you want to immediately kill that Dark Knight that you've left alive for this entire run, as soon as you see the main NM's weapon break. Now I usually like to get the Dark Knight down to about 10 to 20% hit points, while the main NM uses Perfect Dodge at 50%. It's a good use of this time. This allows me to finish him in a single weapon skill once we reach that 30% mark. Now this will mean that only a single mob, the Black Mage, is respawned at 30% hit points, Therefore, he will not gain access to the nasty ability that he will immediately use if you had allowed him to summon both the Dark Knight and the Black Mage at 30%. Once the Black Mage is taken care of, go ahead and take care of the last 30% that is left on the main NM, and you've won your fight. Now for Trust, I'm using Joachim for March, Koromuru for Haste and Dia, and Monborough and Yoran Oran for Cures. Now I'm also using a brand new Trust that Square has just given us access to today, Matsui-P, to see how he works out. He does some great damage with his burst, and is very useful with his stuns here. However, he does interrupt my skill chains quite often, so we're going to have to see exactly how that works into my usual day-to-day playstyle. Now if you are in a party setup, then at 30% hit points, you need to have your tank pull the main NM away, and possibly another mob with him, so that it can make your life easier for the Alliance. Then your Alliance need to split up the remaining mobs into 2 groups and kill them. Now I recommend at least 1 tank, and 2 people capable of holding hate in your party, so therefore you can form these 3 groups. Now you can be relatively close to each other so that your mages can hit all of you. You just need to make sure that the hate for all of the mobs never is on the same person for 3 mobs at the same time. So if you're on the very difficult difficulty, you have a total of 6 mobs. So you need to have 2 of those on 3 different people at all times. If one of those switches to one of the other people, and therefore that person has 3 mobs on them, that's when the nasty move is going to be used, and that person's pretty much going to instantly die. Okay, I hope that was helpful, everyone. Let's go ahead and see what a battle example looks like on the easy difficulty. Enjoy the run, everyone. And that'll be it for the December 2020 Intense Ambuscade video. I hope everyone found that helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic month and a happy new year. Stay safe and stay healthy.